くれ。エレンを止めてくれ。
Hey, great job, everyone. Except for you, racist carrot.
That was fucking racist of you. Racist carrot.
I would be equally racist tomorrow.
Yo, what is up, my little weirdos? Hello, you guys. Welcome back again. If you're new here, which is pretty much everyone, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, and welcome back to the two people who stayed. If you're not familiar with this channel, I cover all things that interest me and that I find fun, and today is a day dedicated to the nerdy topics. So I told a little fib and said I'll be back last Thursday, but seeing how last episode played out, it was nothing but backstory. So I was like, I should just combine this episode with the next one, and also I couldn't find my dang mic, so here we are, and I ain't doing a long intro. So without further ado, if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for reviews and breakdowns. And if you have any questions about these past two episodes, because there were many, do not hesitate to comment, and let's build this little community up. Yo, you feel me? All right, so let's get started with point number one. This last few episodes were just backstory. So last left off with Aaron being killed and being sent through the coordinate through touching Zeke's hand, and we are here with them in the memories of their father, and Zeke's trying his best to make Aaron understand that what he's being told and being raised on wasn't right, and that he should change his ways and go with the euthanization plan. So our first point is Zeke trying his best to make Aaron understand his father's wrongdoing in the restoration plan. In a failed attempt to unlearn the seeds of nationalism by Gracia Yeager, Zeke takes Aaron inside of their father's memories to have Aaron see, quote unquote, see for himself how Gracia put those ideas of restoration and the end of the world in Aaron's head, and that Aaron isn't himself, and that if only he could just let him help him and free his mind, he can see the error of his ways. And throughout the episode, or the first part of the episode, you could see Aaron's not really giving a damn and joking around, humoring Zeke for just a moment, telling him one moment, yeah, I see the error of my ways. I should have never been born. So he says it so sarcastically. It's like you can just tell, yeah, he's fucking with him. And then Zeke is like, no, I don't believe him, and he tries to keep showing him more memories. So he and Zeke then go through more of Grisha's memories to force Aaron to see he's been controlled by Grisha, until they come across a memory that shows them both how Grisha did interfere with the royal family base and went home and hugged Aaron. And the scene, Grisha is trying to find out the history of Titans and pretty much piece together their history, and he ends up finding out, the royal family, the people with King Fritz's blood, he ends up finding their base, and instead of infiltrating it and doing what he's done in the memories that they have been shared and being seen this whole time, he actually does the opposite and goes to Aaron and hugs him. Zeke is taken aback by this because he has always thought Gracia was as a selfish person and always put the mission over his love of his children, doing the right thing. But instead, he held off on this said mission for his love of Aaron. And to Zeke's astonishment, he sees how Gratia's love for Aaron made him hold off on the restoration of Eldia and allowed Aaron to be raised freely. And the difference in how they were raised is why he doesn't understand how Aaron turned on him, not knowing the hell that Aaron's been put through behind the wall, and what it will do to a person. And he's pleading a case to a person who was never what he thought he was, and someone he has never met. He doesn't even know Aaron, and yet he believed Aaron needed help. So I don't understand just the delusion with that. I'm with Aaron. I'm with Aaron. I want to play his ass too. Like, you thought you knew me, but yet you didn't. Tuh. And our next point, Aaron was always in control of himself. We see Aaron going along with Zeke for the remainder of the memories, And Zeke is very confused at this point as to why Aaron just doesn't understand his plan and his wishes and why he is portraying Zeke. He doesn't understand. To which Aaron reveals that he has always been in control of himself, and how Aaron shows Zeke for himself how he was always in control and had a free will and chose his path through on his own. And throughout the story, because of what he witnessed throughout in his life, and if you guys have been here from the first season, which I have a couple of people who have never seen this show, which you guys should, what the hell are you doing? The first season, we see that Aaron kills people at a young age, and it was his choice because he refused to have somebody take his freedom away. So if somebody is trying to take his freedom away, he will not hesitate to take away theirs, which is highly understandable because I am not going to die. You will die first before I die. Wholly understand, wholeheartedly. So this is something that Zeke will not understand because he was lived in sheltered. But it's completely different on how Aaron was lived. Aaron was lived in a zoo, pretty much. He grew up in a cage. So this is something that Zeke does not understand. On why Aaron is so gung-ho with this plan of taking down the whole world. Aaron wanted to show Zeke that no matter what Zeke shows him, nothing was going to change his mind. He wanted Zeke to see how he was in control the whole time, and it is Zeke who is brainwashed. Zeke who is blinded by his own hatred by his father, for his father and his own people, who were forced to be weapons and had nothing to do with the atrocities against mankind by mankind. So, if Zeke could understand that the Eldians had really no control over anything that happened towards mankind. It was really literally mankind that done it to itself like they usually always do. If anything, Zeke is the one who is not in control of his own future, seeing as it was Aaron pulling the strings to lead everyone to be led to the coordinate for Aaron to reach the memories in order for the future to play out. Confusing, I know. I'll explain it here in a second. Zeke was weak and he fell for his own insecurities, while Aaron did the opposite and abused those said insecurities to achieve his goal. What I mean with them being led to the memories is that the first person who started it all, which was Ymir, is leading Aaron and every other person in this time to this same memory for them to enact what's going on right now, which is the rumbling. I'll explain further, and let me get through these points, and I'll explain a little bit further. I know a lot of people are very confused. Zeke was just too weak, and he fell on his own insecurities, while Aaron did the opposite and abused those insecurities to achieve his goals. And we see Grisha throughout the episodes, see flashes of the brothers in his sleep or in visions of them until he sees them and it's too late. But it makes sense why throughout the series Grisha had this faraway look to him when he was in the walls. It was because he was seeing the ghost of his future. And our next point is Aaron revealing his cunning plan. We come to our next point and see Aaron is a master manipulator. As we witness Aaron push Zeke out of Grisha's memory, it's now revealed that Aaron has been living in his own father's memory this whole time, knowing the future, and was playing Zeke as a pawn. So Zeke would think Aaron was the same as he, just a sad little pathetic boy who needs guidance, when that's far from the truth. Now, the memories that were haunting Aaron after eating Grisha were Ymir, the very first Titan. She was leading them to the exact memory and exact moment where we see Grisha and the royal family. And in the twisted events, we see Aaron relive his father's memory of the royal family, explain why Eldian must atone for all their sins. For a moment, I thought Grisha was going to be a real one, but he lost conviction and turned on Aaron and his efforts to save his people. Defeated and realizing he isn't a monster, he can't bring himself to kill children, we see Aaron's anger intensify. Zeke also points out the memory that made Aaron lose hope for his father. And Aaron was lightweight telling the truth because he did lose faith, but he lost faith in another way, which was that Grisha wasn't going to be able to carry out his plan and do what needed to be done. So in order for that to happen, Eren had to make a change in himself. He had to become the monster everyone was afraid to be. He'd be that. And in that moment, we see Eren move to a specific spot. If you watch season 3, you can see in these memories, they played bits and pieces, and in those memories you see a figure. And in those figures we didn't know who that was. And in this episode it is made clear that it was Eren this whole time who is that figure. Crazy. And our next point is the Attack Titan's power. In a crazed state to try to save his family, he reveals the Attack Titan power, which is the ability to foresee the memories of its future inheritors. Those same future inheritors were also pulling each other towards a certain moment. It occurred to me that there was certain times in an episode where Eren looks back as if it's like he knows what's going to happen next, or he's just waiting for the right moment. And it's revealed that he was. Eren already knew what was up, because he already seen these events played out for 4 years. He already seen it 4 years ago when he touched the hand of Historia and was just going through the motions. In that final moments of the episode, Grisha explains to the royal family how he knows how the Titan works, how people with royal blood can't use the full power of the founding because they have Fritz blood and they're not just straight Ymir descendants. The reason why they can't use it is because they have that tyrant's blood in their veins, and Ymir won't allow them to use her power because she refused to have anybody be a slave to his blood again like she was. Totally understand her. Grisha knows he is not able to use it, and they're not able to use it as well, because announcing of the act of war. Instead, Ymir waited for the right moment in which Zeke can open the memories for Eren to be led in at the right moment in the right time, so he can remind Grisha of his purpose and to push forward the future, which is to have Eren have the founding Titan. Eren knew this the day he kissed Historia's hand, because she had royal blood that activated the memories of the Attack Titan. The episode ends with Grisha carrying on the horrid act and smushing the royal family and only leaving the father for future reference. He's torn up by this and is just going on a downward spiral into madness as he struggles with the fact that what he just did, and asking Eren why, what was the point? Why did he make him do it? Could you at least let him see? Not knowing why he's going crazy, and he is then able to fully see Zeke and ask for forgiveness on how he was to him and what he put him through, and is being a straight puss wagon, because he ends up turning on my boy Eren and begs Zeke to stop him. A whole flip-flopper, you feel me? You're gonna flip-flop on your son for the first one for not doing what the second son is doing, what you wanted the first one to do. And now you're like, oh, boo hoo, I never thought it'd be so horrible. Man. Alright, the next breakdown of this video is the episode 5 review. Now this episode comes to a close, and we now go into the next episode, which is the 2000 years from you. That explains exactly how this world came to be. And we start off with Historia's sister Frida, the one in the last episode, who was being confronted by Grisha. That is Historia's sister, Frida. She is the holder of the founding Titan, and Grisha and her in the fighting, she lost, and that's how Grisha was in control of the founding Titan and how Eren got it. So we start off this episode with Historia's sister Frida telling her a story of a little girl, and in the beginning of the series we were led to believe this little girl in the story was not that important to the little fairy tale and was only there to be a helper to the Titans. In this episode we get the history of it in the tea on little Miss Thing. Alright, so we head into point number 1, or point number 6, 5, I don't know what point I'm on, I don't know, you'll see it on there. Whatever. We are then transitioned from a story to a flashback of the little girl who is Ymir. And this is who I was talking about this whole time. I like how they transitioned it to portray as it would like it was a fairy tale at first, as Frida tells Historia tells it like it's one of like it's coming out of a fairy tale. We see how throughout the narration it's all nice, and we have to treat others how they want to be treated, and if you want to be liked, you would treat others with respect, and blah 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 blah. You know, trying to teach Historia how to become a lady like the girl in the book Ymir, and it's completely the opposite of how Ymir's life was, and it was filled with nothing but misery and mistreatment. During Ymir's life, we're shown that she is always taking care of people. She's like a doormat, and it's kind of sad to see because it's like she just does it because it's in her to do, and it's in her to be a good person. During this time, King Fritz takes her people, burns her village, and takes her in as a slave. She then, throughout her years works as a slave and is now blamed for something that she has nothing to do, and instead of ratting out on the people that are responsible for it, she takes the punishment. And us anime watchers get our first glimpse at the tyrant King Fritz, and they say that he was the one who was the titan, who was starting it all and was the reason for it all. Now we know he had nothing to do with it. He was just another human, like the Marlians, using Ymir, and just bear with me. We get our first glimpse with him. So the past 5 years, we were being led to believe that it was Fritz who was the founding titan, and Ymir was just a lowly titan, and then they mixed, and then Ymir was the slave, and Fritz was the one in control of everything, which he was, but it wasn't like that. He sets Ymir free after she doesn't tell on the people who let the supplies go. She flees, and his soldiers hunt her down in the woods, and she falls and starts to lose consciousness. And the last important memories of her she has was her blood on a flower leading her to a tree. And Ymir follows this flower and enters the tree, only to fall down into the water and starts to drown. She has a very unfortunate life. Just saying, it's very sad. I was getting a little teary-eyed watching her story. Almost dead, an eel-like parasite attaches itself to Ymir, giving her access to life. The way that this parasite is described, it seems that it's a parasite that evolved to hold the characteristic of living, multiplying, strength, dexterity, all that, pretty much all the characteristics of how Titan shifters gain their strength. Coming forth from that, she breaks forth from the tree and is now a Titan, the first ever Titan, and she goes back and helps King Fritz. And King Fritz, basically astonished and grateful for her powers and help, he forces Ymir to take his name, and for her amazing abilities and her fixing the roads and building up the empire, Fritz rewards her with his name and his seed, leaving Ymir to be a slave in more ways than one. Point number 8, we go through a montage and we see Ymir board 3 girls, Maria, Rose, and Sina. Those names should be ringing a bell. Those are the 3 walls surrounding the people of Eldia in paradise. Those walls were named because those were the first daughters, the first 3 titans after Ymir. And in the montage, we see her fighting for King Fritz against Marlian, building walls for him, and, so on and so forth, just becoming more and more of a slave in so many horrendous ways. Next scene, Fritz is seen giving a speech, and a soldier is just fed up, and at a failed attempt to assassinate the king, Ymir's instincts kick in, and she protects him. Ymir is then impaled by the spear and is lying there dying. And as she's dying, King Fritz, annoyed and a little bit disgusted at her, tells her to get up because he believed that no mere spear could kill her, and he was basically saying, you need to get up because you are my slave and you're not going to die because I said so. And she goes into death believing that that's all she is and that's all she is good for, and that is very sad. I feel really bad for Ymir. That's why I was like, at first when I was watching, I was like, oh, so she is with the euthanization plan. And until it goes further into the episode, you'll realize what her true intentions are. And we go into point number 8, where Fritz forms a tradition. Bent on power, a psychotic Fritz forces his daughters to eat every last bit of his slave wife in order to keep her powers in his grasp and use his children and so on and so forth as weapons of war. He is heard in narration, and as we see Ymir make the paths in the afterlife glow. After you eat certain titans, your soul is connected to her, and you are now connected to her in the coordinate, and you can see that being affected as it starts to glow, and they have like a little family tree, so to speak. And we hear him monologue in her head. She hears this for over 2,000 years on how he shall reign over his enemies for thousands of years because of Ymir's power, and they shall stay in power because of his children's enormity. And while he reigns, we see Ymir build, and what she's building are titans. And she has done this for 2,000 years, hoping one day, just one day, one of them will wake up and choose her instead of choosing the royal blood to command her to do something. She is hoping one day one of her children will come and save her. And that's where we come to see Eren. And that brings us to point number 9, where Eren gives Ymir a choice. And as Ymir dies and is transported to the coordinate and watched helplessly for 2,000 years as her descendants struggle for power over her abilities, she watches helplessly until her plan finally reaches an Eldian who would listen. And that one who has been pulling the strings was actually her. And Eren was just her, like her soldier, her knight, was basically making so it what she wanted would happen. And what she wanted was to destroy and burn down this world. And I'm not blaming her. And she's been creating a path for someone to follow it directly to reach her and give her a choice. And that person was Eren. She was the one who was speaking to him through the memories for him to get back to her. Eren broke free and ran straight to Ymir as soon as Zeke figured out what Eren's plan was. He ran straight to her, and Zeke, feeling the blood of the king, self-righteously states that no matter what you can do, there's nothing that can be done once Ymir sets her feet in motion. And that right there was Zeke's mistake, because instead of seeing her as a slave, he should have saw her as a human. And that's what gave Eren even more of a leg up to reach Ymir. As he ran to her, he had wrapped his hands around her and hugged her and reminded her that she is human and she has a choice. And that right there was Zeke's downfall. Zeke made the mistake of being like the king and gave Eren exactly what he needed. Zeke was in control and Eren was free will. Ymir made a choice and she wanted it to be in free will. And our last point is the final moments of the episode. And boy, it was something. I flipped my head. I literally flipped off the bed. Seriously, like when Ymir gave Eren her power, the walls coming down, and it's revealed to have colossal titans. Bro, like epic as hell. Like whoa. The walls came crumbling down in Swallow Peak, and Reiner tries to grab Gabby, and the parasite ends up attaching to Eren and revives him fully and absorbing Zeke too. So basically Eren has 6 titans combined, and he ends up leading the wall titans towards the rest of the world, and he informs them, the subjects of Ymir, his plan to make all the world crumble under his rumble. Pun intended. I'm keeping that in for what they basically what the humans have done to them to make them do to other humans. Instead of just being cool, they had to just use them for weapons and try and kill them off with each other. So yeah, I'm deaf on Eren's side, but with the preview, I don't think that Mikasa and Armin and everyone else are. So let's just hope they're cutting a rogue titan, fingers crossed. So that brings this episode and week's review and breakdown to a close. And I will see you guys until next Thursday. And no, I refuse to believe Levi is dead. We will see him in next Sunday's episode. I will bet $2 on that. Looks like next week's episode is going to be filled with nonstop action. So here's some more jaw-dropping moments from this show. You know, I'm going to be here to cover it. So don't forget to like and comment and subscribe for more Nerdy Thursdays. I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces. If I lose it all outside the world, another day. If I lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. If I